Hey guys, it's Mathel here once again, bringing you the follow-up video to the Melee Omega LOL Bleed Earthquake Berserker that currently actually cleared the entire game rather well. Hit level 93, did 3 Uber Elders, all deathless, and even did one of them with a Disfavour, a series Disfavour that is, which is a substantially worse weapon than mine, but still good enough and still shows off some of the Bleed Melee Earthquake playstyle. So that's the actual clip I have for you at the end of the video, which is going to be a deathless Uber Elder kill with an Atsiri's Disfavour. At the time, cost 10 chaos, so you don't necessarily need a weapon like mine, the one I showed in the previous video, but I did end up making a slightly better one, multi-modded, around the Elder percent damage and cull mod, and then the corroded bleed mod. That is the ultimate weapon, that is what you're going for, and it does help you bleed quite a bit, but it's by no means necessary, and bleed damage itself with this sort of playstyle just seems to ramp up on its own quite nicely through mostly support gems and passives, because there's not much else you can do damage wise. You're basically screwed after you get a couple of little upgrades here or there. So what I'm talking about there is basically getting a chest with level 1 maim, most of the passives on the tree, a decent enough weapon, and maybe an aspect of the spidercraft. As well as that, you can do just a few little bits and pieces like physical damage on rings, amulets, percent damage, some slightly okay jewels, but jewels are pretty crap for a build like this. You can only get bleed damage, physical damage, and damage over time to actually scale your bleed. So they've also got life as well as that. And then of course you can do a helm with jagged fossils that ends up giving you a bit of percent increased physical damage. Now you can see that the playstyle ends up being quite heavily reliant on Vile Earthquake for your zooming, because Earthquake itself, it's not too bad, it clears okay, but once you press Vile Earthquake, it gives you the freedom to run ahead of many packs and probably clear out a good few screens before it runs out. Then you have to slam just a couple of times with Earthquake and your Vile Earthquake is back up. So it's up so frequently that it is going to be doing most of your clearing, even though you're by no means a Vile specialist build. But it does work out really well, and it is probably one of the reasons that Earthquake is going to be your premier bleed skill for this build, because Vile Earthquake is just up so often and gives you so many more potent bleeds. Because otherwise you can try some Ground Slam, you can do some Lacerate, and they do feel okay, but missing out on that Vile Earthquake does feel pretty damn bad, and ultimately Earthquake's going to probably be your best bleed applicator in this situation. So I did do a bunch of 83 delving, and it's all pretty smooth and rather clean. I even took it down to depth 500 delving, and while I can do that, and the damage is there, technically with the bleed and the bleed explosions, as a berserker, as a melee berserker, you do start to take quite a few big hits from those deeper monsters, and it's a bit rough. So that can bring me to the next point, where berserker, it's not entirely a meme, it does still work rather nicely. The problem is you have to be ready to take those extra big hits, and ended up building into 7.2k life, and even that is still not enough against some content if you're not careful, like the Betrayal Syndicates. After I got 7k life, I rarely died to Syndicate members in tier 15, 16 maps. Before that, it wasn't too uncommon that I would get close to one shot by just about any bad map mod plus a Syndicate member. So yeah, there is quite a lot of work you got to do for a berserker to end up feeling somewhat tanky. You got to get lots of life, you got to keep your fortify up, you got to be mashing that war cry button for the endurance charges, for the rage stacks, and for the big health sort of life flask recovery mod. It does help quite a lot there, but overall you can see that the bleed damage definitely exists, and it just takes a little bit of ramping once we get Crimson Dance. It does take a bit of ramping, a bit of standing still and attacking, and the bleed damage actually ends up working. I did drop my increased area as well and started running Chance to Bleed as my 6th link, not using any Ruthless whatsoever because Ruthless felt a little too inconsistent, and I think that was the best setup. And I do recommend dropping your increased area gem once you get to hard enough content that you need to get more damage. So I used increased area up until like tier 14s or so. Past a certain point, I definitely wanted more damage for the syndicate members and for tougher rare monsters, so I just ended up using a proper 6 link. So that's roughly where the character ends. Level 93, almost got to 94 I think even, don't quite remember. But yeah, it mapped pretty smooth, it did bosses pretty smooth, and bleed damage actually kind of works with somewhat low investment because there's only so much you can do to scale it. This is the kill I did with my actual weapon, the one that has a corroded fossil bleed mod on it, and it was a pretty successful kill, the very first one, but we then had to up the ante and take it on with an series Disfavour, which I bought for 10C, which is kind of a shit weapon by comparison for this bleed sort of stuff. Still good enough, and as you can see, it will kill Uber Elder if you do it just right. So thank you very much for watching, guys. This was Bleed Earthquake Berserker, and I'll see you next time. A little.
M'lady.
Not quite as potent. So I somehow let a propagator survive for a while last time. Okay, there he is. Damn, Val Earthquake fucking farms. Like, it phased him pretty fucking quickly. Shit, dude. Propagators die surprisingly fast. Just like one bleed tick could take him down by itself, probably. Oh no. Oh wait, I'm stunning you. It's all good. Because those things pop a little stun on you. Slaps. Did I push him? Yay. Okay, what do we have left? Ooh, that was close to getting one shot. Cull? Oh shit, it doesn't have cull! I'm used to the cull on my axe, and Disfavour doesn't have that. I was just gonna like AFK cull him. And then stand still. Honestly, the damage isn't that much worse with a 10C weapon. Bad rolled Disfavour, and Bleed still did some pretty decent damage there. No cull, which is unfortunate. But, yeah, fuck him. Bleed Berserker Earthquake, incredibly viable. There, I said it. Haters come at me.